Hey, everybody.
What's going on?
What up?
Look, we got a full house, man. We haven't had a full house in a long time.
It's been
Welcome.
At least been like 6 months. I did notice you kept telling me how we're now famous on Rumble, and I couldn't care less.
Yeah, it's like it's weird, man. It is so. Every time I see it, I'm blown away. I was talking about this in our Discord, and I was saying,
I just got notified that we're live. Just so you know.
Yeah, we're live. So we have like 27,000 subscribers on YouTube, and our live chats get 200 to 500 views.
Yeah.
We have 170 followers on Rumble, and our views are like 300 to 600 views.
Yeah, it's like everybody on Rumble wants to watch our live chat, but none of the other content, nothing else. Like, hey, here's a really cool optic or whatever. They're like, don't
20
care.
people.
I want to hear somebody complain. Like, but I think to myself, like, yeah, that's the Rumble crowd. Like, I get it. I get you guys.
I kind of wish when I set this all up on StreamYard, I wish I would have known that the indictment was going to happen today, the Trump indictment, because I would have put that in the title, and we probably would have like 4,000 viewers today.
Oh, probably. It's like Orange Slam.
We'd have 4,000 views and 5,000 dislikes.
Oh yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Like, how did we get more dislikes? People were calling in their friends just to dislike it.
We got some comments over on Rumble. Prepper Book Club says Rumble Crew, and Croak is over there. He said, "Hey, is this the famous channel?" We do have Croak here too.
I like Croak a lot, and he's over there on Rumble, but he's giving us props, so I can't say anything.
We got some wizard comment. Wizard, get your nods.
There you go.
Zach Fett. Banks Bucks, my second favorite Marine in our Discord.
Who's the first favorite?
Croak.
Oh. Yeah, jokes at work. There's because we have all these different people. I talk about the different branches and that we have everybody but Marines. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're a bunch of crayon eaters. They're not going to come.
Right. You don't need crayon sharpeners at work.
Yeah. We don't need them. And they're like laughing, like, what's the joke? Why is the joke with crayon eaters? Like, it's not a joke, actually. They eat crayons and we don't want them.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Did you see that my last video I put it was Caleb's video when I had on the box, I had my kids write to Jason from Croak the Marine in crayon. I asked her, like, hey, do you mind if I do this?
With your non-dominant hand?
Yeah.
Dude, I have once a Marine, always Marine, right? So I work with a Marine. And his sense of humor is amazing. So we go back and forth all the time with the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the time I'm like, oh, you like them 64 packs of Crayolas, don't you? He's like, you mean the salad makers? Yeah, those are my favorite. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you have the sharpener in the back. You just make your salad.
Salad maker.
I'm like, all right.
I brought in sometimes I bring in like optics to work just so they can see some of the cool stuff coming out. And there was one guy who was there working there for a Marine. He was a Marine. He was super awesome. But the whole time he was like showing like an LPV. It was like a 1:8, and the whole time he was like, I don't know why you need this. You already got irons. I'm like, yes, my Marine friend.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have irons.
Technically, you're right. Shout out, man. Hey,
what up?
Croak says, rest in peace, Cody. Hey, fellas, Misfits in the house. Big Truck is here. What's up, boys?
Big Truck.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about movies. The question came up at my new job. What's one movie that, like, if you're scrolling through TV and you see it, you'll just stop and watch it? And I was like, Over the Top. Every time I see Over the Top, I always have to stop and watch it.
Mine's Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, I love that movie too.
Like if I'm sitting, doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm walking through a mall and it's playing somewhere, I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
I got to catch a couple lines of this.
Mine's pretty much any action movie with Stallone or Schwarzenegger from the 80s and early 90s.
Mm.
Yeah, that's so funny. So most of the folks I work with are younger than me, and they were like, what are your favorite movies of all time? And so I started listening, and they were like, those are all 80s movies. Like, why is it like those? That's the best decade of movies.
Yeah.
By far.
You ever heard a good 80s montage? You can't.
Why do you think they're remaking all of them now?
terribly. I wish they
Gotta
didn't.
have a montage.
I don't know, dude. The second Top Gun was really good.
It was good. You're right.
I liked it.
So there's a really good comment here that I actually want to talk about. And Shadow Man says, so LPVOs are cool again. I did get to see Jason sent me all the footage. That the stuff that Cop did is absolutely awesome. I'm sure he's talking about. It's very respectful. Super tragic situation where he had to use his training. But thankfully there's people who spend the time to train that way. I still don't love LPVOs. I think he had an LPVO, and I think he would have been more effective with an offset red dot or just a red dot personally. And I think I had the opportunity to use one of the best LPVOs out there, and that's the new Primary Arms PLXCs. And it still runs into the same problem. Like, you have no parallax control. So if you can only focus at 100 yards, you can't do great inside or outside of that. And that's just the physics problem of them. So
yeah, but I think that if you obviously they do train with it.
Yeah.
I think one of the best memes that I saw was it was like a South Park meme where I forgot what the dad's name is, but he's walking around with his testicles in the wheelbarrow, and it was like a wife and kid, like she was hiding this kid's eyes, and it said, something about the husband paying $3,000 for his patrol rifle setup, and then the dude with the wheelbarrow was the cop, because that LPVO he had, I think it was a Vortex, like that Razor, the Gen 3. It's like a $2,400 LPVO.
Croak and Misfit did correct me, though. He did have an offset. So, yeah, sorry. My mistake then. My mistake. But if
he was effective. At the end of the day, he was quite effective.
He's effective. If there's a mid-range and offset.
Whatever it was. I tell you, the other thing was their communication was so good.
Yep.
Yeah. There was actually one of my guys at work. So Dan, I think he's actually doing an install right now. So if Dan's out there watching, shout out to you while you're doing some wonderful network installs. But he was actually talking to me about that, and he's like, do you guys train CQB? And I was like, no. It's something we kind of watching that footage. I was like, watch how these teams. Number one, they're a team, and number two, you can tell they trained with each other. They had similar language. They had similar hand signals. They knew what each one was going to do in that situation and how they're going to engage with it. So, not only do you need to have some skills, you need to have a team that you train with religiously. So that's why I was like, nope, I'm going to avoid that situation like the plague unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah. Well, and those are instances where you absolutely have to. Like,
yep.
Kids are in
That's
danger.
one we gotta. Yep. That's what I told him too. I was like, worst case, it was like he was like, he's not that he knows how to use a rifle, but he's not like ultra trained or anything. I was like, worst case, it's me and you. We're gonna go in with what we know because that's the only option there is. There's some situations you just can't avoid. So
yeah. I think one of the things that really highlighted me is they were doing room clear. They had no idea where the threat was, and so they were like, "We're going to effectively clear the room." They had 3 guys, and so it was like textbook how they were clearing rooms with 3 people. And then they heard the gunshots, and it was like, "Okay, we don't need to clear any of these rooms, right? Let's just head to where the danger is." So super effective communication, super effective room clearing, and man, they handle business.
It was just great to see decisiveness, like make a decision and own it, get after it.
The complete opposite that we saw on some previous responses. It was like, yep, we're going, get up, get behind me, let's go. Hey, we got 4 people. It's all we need to rack up, stack up, let's go. It wasn't like, well, hold up, let me ask my boss if I can go. He said no.
But that's also the difference between law enforcement and military, right?
Yeah.
So if that was overseas, you wouldn't be able to skip rooms.
Yeah, that's true.
And so the law enforcement adapts a lot of military training, and that's one of the things that I have noticed since we've started militarizing our law enforcement, is that they had some of the military tactics that don't work stateside, or that you shouldn't be using stateside. Because in a situation like that, what's the likelihood of more than one shooter? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Very small. So you hear gunshots. Well, you don't need to clear all the rooms. In the military operation, you do have to clear all the rooms.
Even if you heard it upstairs, you're like, well, we'll get to that.
I remember we were doing active shooter training at work, and it was clearing rooms by yourself. Mm-hmm. And as I was coming out of one room, my peripheral, I saw the bad guy, and he threw a flashbang out. And so I went into the room. You're supposed, like they were teaching us how you're supposed to protect yourself. I came back into the hallway. I knew where the threat was, and so I started heading that way. A quote unquote hostage came out everyone's wearing masks. We're using airsoft or Sims, and so I shot the good guy, the hostage, who was like running towards me. And one of the things that they were talking about is like, doesn't matter. Like, you're still a threat out there. You can't stop and render aid right now, deal with the threat. And so blow past him. And I remember the instructor afterwards, he was like, why'd you shoot the hostage? I was like, it was just like, you're in a tunnel. I was in a hallway. This guy comes out. He looks like the bad guy. Pull the trigger. And I remember it was one of my coworkers. He was like, why'd you shoot me, as he was falling down to the ground? So a great training experience, but it's stuff that people are going to have to deal with. Like, there are going to be casualties and there are going to be mistakes, but as long as you take care of the threat, you could deal with all that other stuff.
Well, it's also the beautiful thing about training is that's where you want to make those mistakes. That's where you iron out the kinks and get better at what you do.
Yeah. Mike Costanza, totally changing the subject, says, hey, Joe, no more Camaros after 2024.
I know. That's why I had to buy mine when I did, because I wouldn't be able to get a 2024. Like, I'm just a regular Joe Schmo, and I didn't want to pay a huge markup over MSRP. I paid $500 over MSRP at the end.
That's not so bad though.
Yeah.
No, especially for when I bought mine in 22 is when I bought mine. It's an amazing deal.
Yeah.
I mean, people can argue it or whatever, but from all my research, and I'm trying to buy, even just find one used or find one that I didn't particularly care for, not the right color or whatever, the markup on them went $5,000 to $10,000. So my car went up in value about $5,000 more than what I paid for it when I drove it off the lot. It'll drop back down, but then it's going to go up.
Yeah. Croak says, friend asked me the other day how I got to South Carolina. I answered in my best movie Asian accent. It wasn't easy. He didn't get the joke. Seth Brooks with some wizard comments.
Thanks, Seth.
J-Dub says, man, I wonder how Walsh would feel if he was rocking an MRO.
I'd be mad.
Hey, you still have a parallax issue you got to deal with.
Yeah, still have the same problem. It's LPVO. Now I just have a worse optic.
But it would have been cheaper than that LPVO that dude was running.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, so here's Prepper Book Club says, then the second cop came in blasting. No, he didn't. He came in to stop the threat.
Yep.
Stop
and
moving.
The threat was still a threat.
Bang, 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 bang. I saw something today. There was a quote. I think Croak copied a quote. It was something like the rifle. Man, I can't remember. I got to find it again. But it was something like the rifle stopped the threat. The pistol stopped the trial or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
Dude, did you guys ever see the video? Man, when we first went into Iraq, but there was the news crew with the team. I don't know what branch they were, maybe Army. I don't know. But they were clearing the building. He had neutralized the threat, or what he thought was neutralized. The guy moved and rolled a grenade, and it ended up detonating. And he caught shrapnel, killed some of him brothers in arms. Well, he got patched up and went right back out on patrol the next day, and that's when the camera was with him. And same exact situation. They were clearing a building with hostiles. The guy moves, and he just he stitches them up with a saw, just right up with a saw, and he moved. And they were trying. They were either going to try to, or they did try that guy.
Yeah.
For a war crime.
Golly.
And it's like, no, you guys are ridiculous. I'm the first one out of all of us to call out bad policing. Like, I absolutely hate it. I watch video all the time. I hate it. That wasn't it. That wasn't bad policing.
Well, and one of the things Joe had mentioned a long time ago, there was a story or something that Joe shared with our group, and it was some sheriff, I believe, where someone asked the sheriff, like, is it true that your officers shoot to kill? And he said something like, no, they shoot to stop the threat, and then God deals with the rest, or something like that.
It's like, interesting.
Remember that one cop that all the officers shot like an outrageous amount of rounds into the woods and at the person or whatever, and they asked
Yeah.
him like, "Why did you shoot that person so much?" And like, because we ran out of bullets. Remember that one?
Like,
No.
like
No. But you do see, if you guys watch a lot of like law enforcement shooting interactions, you can see, I'm not going to say bad training, but you could definitely see training at play. Like there was this one scenario I was watching. It was in California, a guy with a knife. There was 3 highway patrolmen. One had a shotgun. And so the guy with the knife charged the cops and they all shot the dude. And the guy with the shotgun, it was 3 shots and then he shouldered a shotgun. And I was like, man, that's got to be their training method. It was an older one, like from the 90s, where he just like boom, 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 shouldered the shotgun.
because he just did it out of habit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
out of habit.
They
Whereas
only shoot
cops-
three rounds when they're qualifying.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Joe, you remember the video that they showed us?
Yeah, with the cop in the bank.
Yeah. So we used to have our
he
guns
pulls. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
So there's a cop in the bank robber come in, him plain clothes, and they start robbing the bank. This guy draws out, punches out, firing 2 rounds, bang bang, decocks, holsters, turns to the next threat, draws out, bang bang, decocks, holsters, turns to the next threat, draws out, and shoots 2 rounds. You want to talk about a training cigar?
Whew,
We survived it.
that's interesting.
I mean, but you can see bad training happen. So the instructors, they see this and they're like, oh, we need to maybe we teach, and this is what Joe and I learned was, the course of fire, shoot 3 rounds center mass, stay aimed in and scan, right? You want to see if there's any more targets, and if there are, then you need to engage. So yeah, it sucks. You'll see bad training, and usually it results in an officer being killed, but luckily that time it did not.
Yeah, the best way to get out of that I've seen on paper is the automated systems that will mix up the timing. So when the target turns to you, it's a threat. When it turns away from you, not a threat. So when it turns away, then you're scanning, and then the target, either somebody controlling it or you have it set on random. So the target will turn, you'll shoot a couple rounds, he'll turn away, so it's not a threat anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a random amount of time before it'll turn back towards you.
Yeah.
So it could turn away, and then immediately turn back to you again. And you have to break your scan and re-engage your threat.
Yeah.
There's
Some
a
of these
target.
training.
Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just saying some of these training algorithms are getting pretty sophisticated, where they can even dial in on where your eyes are going and modify the application at that time. So it's good. You can't be predictable.
Yeah. Danielle comments, "Dear Lord, is it a Thursday already?"
Oh, I
Good to
thought
see
this
you.
week has been. I don't know. My week.
I wish it was Friday.
Been a good week.
Yeah. It's been. I messaged Walsh and I was like, dude, I'm putting in 10+ hour days.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had to do that for a while. So Joe's probably like, cry me a river. But
Right. That I got to go home early every day this week. I only worked 10-hour days this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I checked the TLD Gmail, like hasn't been touched in like a week and a half. I'm like, oh, that's Jason must be busy. Usually, you're like anything comes in, you're like, check this out.
I haven't even looked at it. You're right. I mean, I haven't looked at it.
There's
But
nothing.
I
No gems in
I
there.
got cool news. So I took the car to the track last weekend, and I'm entering it into a car show this weekend.
Hey,
There you
So I'm
go.
going from track to show, dude.
There you
I
go.
will say the pictures that your daughter took of the car at the track were awesome.
Yeah, she does
Really
such a good
good.
job.
Yeah. So kind of cool news. On Discord, I'm seeing 1911 Drew is back.
Oh, we wonder where you were.
What?
Yeah,
Welcome back.
he's here. He's here too. He says, "Damn, I'm late."
Oh,
I had messaged the Discord like a couple weeks ago, like, "Hey man, has anyone heard from 9?" I was really worried, and part of me was worried because I'm like, 1911, he's probably some boomer, like maybe he had a heart attack and we're just never gonna see him again.
They make sure he's
He's
okay.
back. He's back. Yeah. Does
Yeah.
anyone know who he is? Call his wife. Call Reno PD, do a wellness check or something on him. But he's here. He's here. Everything's okay now.
You know.
Yay.
I don't know if that's where he lives. So if I just happened to guess the right city. 1911, Drew. I'm sorry. Banksbuck says, I absolutely hate how I jumped through hoops to get the UF Pro CCE Striker X from Germany, and then they restocked them like 2 months later. Yeah, they just restocked them like this week.
I don't know anything about those specific pants. I don't love the UF Pros though. Like, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. It's not my favorite.
Croak says, the big takeaway I got from the video was how well that pickup ad hoc group of responders were so cohesive. Hey, Blue, move up. The blue shirt guy.
I remember they were like, I thought, did they say blue? I thought it was LPVO. It's like, we need LPVO. No. LPVO, move up.
Yeah, you're right on that one. So, but when they were clearing rooms, when they were downstairs, there was a guy in a blue T-shirt, and so that's how they were commenting. They were communicating with each other. Like, you could tell that these guys didn't know each other, or maybe didn't know each other very well, because instead of going, hey, Mike, or hey, Walsh, or hey, Joe, they were like, blue shirt, move up. But they worked so well together that blue shirt wasn't like looking around like, is anyone else blue shirt? Oh, I guess that's me.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah, he just did it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So anyways, I started blasting.
It's too early.
Tactical Jawa. Hello, friends.
Oh, I hadn't seen a Jawa yet.
Yeah. Pepper Book Club. Yeah, they didn't stop for hand sanitizer.
Don't get COVID in the middle of all that.
Because they had their masks on. They were safe.
Yeah, I know. Harry says, just got back from CQB training. My dog is scratching at my door. I'm going to have to let him in a second.
Okay. Go ahead.
Seth Brooks, active shooter LEOs are, or should be, at least the ones in my area, are taught go to the threat. Yeah.
They should be. Yeah.
Zach says, I don't think there's been more than one shooter since Columbine. I can't
No,
think.
there was that couple. There was that couple in the grocery store where like one guy drew and then his wife came behind him and just clipped him.
That was in your neck of the woods, right, Joe? Colorado? The King Super shooting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
And then the other one that I'm thinking of, there was the
Sniper in the trunk.
No, the African American couple that was going after the Jewish center in like where was it? Virginia or something like that. You're right though. There's not a whole bunch that come to mind.
Yeah, unlikely to see two.
Yeah, Shadowman. Hey, so question: flashbangs or no? If you know where the bad guy is, like if I know that he was around the door. I don't know. If you knew a bad guy was around the corner, like in this room, and you had flashbangs, would you throw him in there, Joe?
In their scenario, probably not, because
listen, if
the
there's no
shooter
civilian,
didn't know that they were there.
Listen, if there's no
like
civilian,
flashbang are great if they're set up on the door. If you're about to kick in the front door of a house and somebody's set up on it, and they know that you're going to come in the door and they're just waiting for you. That's when you throw a flashbang in there, or if there's multiple threats.
Like
I mean, that's my opinion. All my opinion.
Misfit, my Call of Duty experience says to flash.
Just so great.
That's the best.
Smoke grenades, flashbangs.
If there's no like civilians I have to worry about, this is drywall. Like this is not a real wall. It's a wall to our eye.
Yeah, you don't know if there's a civilian in that area.
Yeah. It depends on the scenario.
Yeah. No, with 4 people, I would go with the element of surprise. I would have pied that corner and gone.
That's what he did.
If you've never done pieing corners, you need to do that with simunition or paintball or something, so you can see the effect. Like that person didn't see. They didn't see that body come around the corner.
No.
Like if anything, they saw an eyeball and maybe the muzzle of the gun, and they would have had to been really concentrating on that spot.
Yeah. And the Mantis, we talk about that too. That Mantis Blackbeard is cool for that, where you can do some of that stuff in your own house and in your own environment.
Yeah, we talked about that. Set up your camera and start learning how to pie corner in your house, and then watch the video on your phone.
You're like, oh, so, my feet.
Banksbuck says, imagine being SWAT in an active shooter scenario and you flashbang an entire class of 8-year-olds.
Jeez. It'd be all right.
Yeah, they might be okay, but they'd be traumatized for life.
Yeah.
They'd be all right.
Misfit says, Walsh, would you make any updates to your budget comms video from last year?
I don't think so. I've come across, it's almost like the same stuff. I use the same PTTs as last year. There's some equipment I've gotten that's been like more military surplus that's probably worse. Like the stuff that actually gets issued is pretty crap. I still think you're in the same boat where like just a basic Baofeng, some of the basic setups you can get on like Comm Gear Supply, or running like a full headset setup. I mean, I think you're still in the same boat. There's nothing out there that's like dramatically different. I don't think so. It's pretty much the same. If I did the video, it would be the same thing.
Danielle attended the Palmetto State Armory gathering. She told people that were there.
We should have gone. I mean, I feel bad we're going to miss out on the primary arms one. I got to message Dat back. Those guys messaged us on our TLD Gmail.
Saying, sorry, we really only save up for like one show a year, and it's SHOT Show.
We're kind of idiots, so we just go to one big one.
Yeah. I think in the future, we probably will attend more.
Yeah.
But I don't see us going to like all of them.
I think
If this is our primary job, like if we ever get to that point, I can see us going.
Well, then, yeah. I mean,
at least a rep or two of us go, or whatever. But
yeah,
it's just interesting that we hear about people who like something I never expected. Like they miss us at those events. Like, oh, we were hoping you were going to be at this one. Like, oh, or primary arms. Like, oh, we were hoping we were going to see you. Like, oh, damn. Like maybe
send me a plane ticket next time, and
I don't think that misses us that much.
I don't want us there that much. Matthew Gonzalez says, ditch my primary arms 1 to 8 for a 509T and happy as can be.
No, you just run both. I run the 509T on a 1 to 8 primary arms.
You would.
You got to run them both.
On a 2-foot.
The rifle
periscope.
saved the kids. The pistol saved our money.
I will say, so you know that Joe, you know that ACSS Vulcan that you really like. So I've been doing the top mount red dot setup. So basically a really low mounted LPVO and then a top mounted red dot, right? So like obviously, so it's not too high. But I still found that when you came down, like it's really hard to find the red dot. I was like, you really got to train into this, and I don't think this is as effective as most people think it is. Where like turning or rotating a 45 is super easy. But I did find that I did one with the primary arms with the ACSS Vulcan with that circle, like we talked about on the pistol, where you can kind of like lead you to your dot. Makes it way more effective. Like it's almost instantaneous. I think it's still faster to turn, but it makes it so you're not hunting this little tiny little dude trying to drop down. Like it's just not effective. With a Vulcan, it is though.
This is the one you were talking about. So Croak says, my sheriff, Grady Judd, when asked why they shot the guy 69 times, he said, we ran out of bullets. The guy had shot a deputy a few hours earlier.
70.
69 times. Misfit says, stress does some crazy stuff to the body. Yep.
Crazy.
Danielle says, the EPS carry is my first pistol dot. Picked it up, but also missed that T2 deal. I didn't know there was a T2 deal. I didn't think the T2 is ever a deal.
Oh, yeah. There was a deal going. Well, just recently one. It's like T2 only for like $590. Like, I own a T2. It's a nice. I would never buy that. Like, there is no reason to buy that. There's so many other options.
Coming from the guy that bought it.
It's only so I can show it to other people so I can tell them not to buy it. Otherwise, I don't have to like, well, you don't even own one. Like, okay, I have one. There's like 2 situations in the world that you'd use this, and you'd probably use an EOTech instead for both those situations. So
Speaking of EOTech, Immortal EOTech says, I actually run the Holosun EPS carry on my P320 carry using a CHPWS adapter. California Highway Patrol adapter plate. Tactical Java. That was the pistol cop before they met up with the first cop with the rifle. They actually tried to make entry on second floor while they were sweeping the first floor. Yeah, I think the door was locked or something. That was another thing. There was one door that they came to that was locked. They couldn't go through it. They came to a double set of doors, and on the body cam, the first cop grabs a door, and he goes open it, and he's like, it's locked. Let's go back. And the second cop grabs the opposite door, the double doors, and it was open. It was unlocked. So going back to what Misfit says, is like stress does some crazy stuff to the body. It's just hard to think. I remember we had this thing in deployment training. We call it malfunction junction, where the instructor set up a bunch of malfunctions in these M4s, and you had to run through, clear them all, and you had to get 3 shots on target. And there was one like click, tap rack, click, tap rack. I did it 3 times, and they're screaming at me, but I didn't even hear it. They screamed at me, check the safety. It was on safe. If I would have just put it to fire, it would have fired.
Yeah. So, Sean, I think this is a good segue for you too. What's some of I know you've done some training with some people. What's some of the crazy stuff you see when people do under stress, where they just like kind of like what Jason said, you don't even remember the safety. What's some kooky stuff you've seen?
I mean, in SEER training,
Yeah.
So I think people tend to zero out and they don't have any micro functions. So like when you go to a door, for instance, like you could be pushing when all you had to do was pull, and they completely zone out of that fact. But instead of trying to work through just a really quick problem solve, it's almost like they go into a loop and they just try to do the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah. And I think for survival training specifically, once you start getting people into an unfamiliar area that kind of has different sight sounds, different objectives than what they're used to, it becomes even more almost of a sensory overload. Yeah.
So they'll revert kind of that.
Down. Yeah.
They'll revert to their training. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and we talk about, I mean, even just basically walking around in the woods. If you're unsure of something, you tend to just target fixate on what's in front of you. And in the woods, and even with anything you do, even urban, buildings and everything else, you actually want to try to focus on using your peripherals so that you can see small movements, and as far out of a span as you can, because that's what's going to allow you to catch something quick.
That's smart. Yeah. But of course you don't do that when you're freaking out.
Yeah, I love that. And there was a question Prepper Book Club had that ties into experience that's similar to what he's talking about, what Sean was just talking about. So Prepper Book Club says, for those LEOs, is there a specific leadership plan in place, or is it just determined by who is there? The one guy seemed pretty confident in directing the officers. Angry Sarge says whoever steps up takes charge, and that's it. So anecdotal evidence for that. Yesterday was my first, this is like day number 4 of my new job, my new agency. And so yesterday we were calling. One of the things that they had us do is from the 15-yard to the 7-yard, we had to walk with our partners and keep them in peripherals. And when the FI yelled gun or threat, we would shoot. And so first time shooting with these guys, like they've been working together for 5 years. One of the guys was walking too fast. Like he was getting way far ahead of us, at least a barrel length ahead of us. And so I was extremely comfortable just saying, hey dude, slow down a little bit. Like basically reminding him, stay in the peripherals. It's what you're comfortable with, and everyone else needs to have their ego in check to know, well, you can't have this like, well, I outrank you and I'm the one that's supposed to manage this. No.
Been here for 12 years.
Yeah, that's not how it works. It's exactly what Angry Sarge says. Whoever steps up takes charge, and that's it. That's who you listen to the whole time until the scene is secure. Then you could throw your rank around, but until that point, no.
Well, and you can never plan for what a scenario is. It's unfortunate to think about, but what if that person that's been training to lead this whole time goes down in the fight pretty early on?
Yeah.
I mean, or they're 5 minutes out.
Yeah.
Like, bro, we got to go. Like, cool, you've been playing Point Man, but Point Man is 5 minutes away. We don't got time for that.
Everybody's got to be able and willing to lead a team and step up at a moment's notice, in my mind.
No, totally. That's why I think everyone needs, you train for all positions. So it was cool to see them just like, first guy that got there was basically, let's go. Like, it wasn't a question of like, who's like, I'm first at the door, I'm number 1. Guy who comes next up is number 2. Like, they just load it up. Like, let's roll. So,
I specifically like, I can't say like or whatever, but it's very interesting to me on the info that came out of that with the manifesto saying that they targeted another place, but security was too high. So then they went to this place.
I heard about that.
They did not want to fight. They wanted their moment of fame with whatever ending happened, but they did not want to fight in between.
Yeah. Humans are lazy creatures, just like everything else in this world. I mean, we're going to take the paths of least resistance typically. So if you could defeat the human with whatever the technology is in their hands, that's always going to be the best way to do it.
Even my civilian jobs, I say it all the time. Like just learning how to like work through a situation. I was like, I'm counting on the laziness of others to succeed in a situation.
Well, Joe, you say this all the time. Like a lock on a gun safe is just to keep an honest person honest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a big takeaway that I had too from that manifesto was that the shooter, him, whatever, said like, hey, there's these 2 schools that I was targeting that I went over and I researched and I watched. This one security is really tough. This other one's not. Guess which one I'm going to go after?
Yep.
One that has lax security.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's the gun's fault.
Turns out deterrence is a real thing.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think how much planning went into it. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize that. And I don't know how much we know about the planning of any of the other incidents.
But there was obviously planning here. Good point, Joe.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like one of the things that kicked it all off, right? The Denver Batman shooter.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that person had to have gone to that movie theater, had to have scoped it out, had to have done all that, or else how would they have gained access and done everything else, Yep.
Well, and it's interesting, too, you say that, Joe, because there's all these laws that people are like, well, we need to wait 7 days and do all these things. Like, well, what if they're scoping for months? Like, they're not going to care about waiting 7 days. That's just part of the plan. That's just one step.
Yeah, it doesn't deter anything.
The 7 day is trying to negate the crime of passion type thing.
Yeah. Okay. I can see
domestic violence, stuff like that. But where it hurts people, and I'm a female and I just had a crazy boyfriend. We had a crazy breakup, and I think he's stalking me. Oh, I gotta wait 7 days.
Yeah.
Like it hurts. I believe, I don't have the statistics. I think it hurts more people than it helps.
Yeah.
But
all right. What was this Drew comment about the beard?
So Drew says Walsh is sporting relaxed grooming standards these days.
I did go on base today, and I did get my retiree ID card today. I am officially got
it's
the.
Good
I'm
for
not
like
retired.
50 years.
yeah, good for forever, and it's horrible. Like I don't know what they do. They print it, and it looks like my face is literally on fire. And
Washed out.
Oh no, it's like way ultra saturated, ultra saturated. So it's like I was like, because like my wife, she's had to get her picture too, and she was like, it's like I look a little bit better. I was like, check mine out. Looks like my face is literally on fire. And she's like, you get to keep that for like 50 years.
Yeah. Cool. Mine's the only ID card that I'm ever smiling in.
Oh no, mine's
like it didn't do that on purpose. I'm so tired.
Yeah. No, but I did have to do some briefings today. I was briefing some of my old coworkers, and I had the whole beard. And they're like, that's awesome. Like, yeah, I know your time will come.
Someday.
Not fast enough.
I know.
CM says,
still looks like Team America, dude.
Yeah. I wish the Ronin pistol mag pouches were smaller and had a lower set to be able to grab the mag better. Good video on it a while back. HRT looks like they will be what I get for pistol pouches. That's what I was running on my qual yesterday was HRT mag pouches. So I actually ran them through their paces. Absolutely loved them. Pistol pouches and the AR mag pouches, fantastic. I'd say better than my S-Tacs.
I would say it too. I like them better because the S-Tacs, don't get me wrong, S-Tacs are phenomenal, probably top notch, but I have probably had to take a hairdryer to my S-Tacs half dozen times just to reform them, and the HRTs don't have that issue.
Misfit says airsoft or paintball is a quick way to learn those angles.
Yeah.
Paintball,
it's a good one.
Yeah. Anyhow, it's pretty dog booty. I'm in the middle of the desert for training. I need to slump or I'll be suffering tomorrow. Keep up the good work, boys. See you, bud.
Later, buddy.
Be safe.
We're a little bit behind, so hopefully he watches this later and sees we saw him.
Yeah. Ironsight. I used to play paintball on a sponsor team. The games were won or lost using angles.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
Rules a day.
He's been gone a long time. Look at this. Nice. Congrats. Surpassed 25,000 subscribers.
Did you know you get a cake at 25,000? You don't actually. You don't. Like, I didn't get a cake.
Walsh got one. He bought one for himself and ate it on the live.
No, was it for 25,000? I thought it was
10,000.
like 10,000. Yeah, I got 25,000. I got nothing. Like,
Tactical Java says, you guys should try the scalar works like the Chad Cop and the offset setup they have. I'm a big fan. Walsh has a scalar works.
I do. I have that. I can't ever get their stupid offset mount. They never sell it. I've been
Zach Wizard them knees. Croak says, I saw your picture on Instagram today, Walsh. Tempted to comment on the top mount. Throttled the snark, though.
Oh, Croak, I do love you, though. I probably would have laughed because you're good people.
Misfits
Some people I'm a total jerk to, but they're like, if Croak says something funny, I'm like, all right, Croak, I love you. But yeah, you're probably right.
If you don't have night vision, the T2 is kind of pointless.
Croak I saw the comment he made later on, basically saying like, even with night vision, it's not 2016 anymore. Yeah. Like there's a lot of good options that work under night vision. Is the T2 the best? I mean, no. It's just a 2014 optic, and it costs $600, and you could probably hit it with it. You could run it over, or you could just buy 6 relatively similarly functional ones, and if they break, just use one of the other 5.
But dude, we can't say that anymore. Like I have $80 optics sitting right here that I literally ran over with a truck, and they still work. Like you can't say that anymore. In the 90s and early 2000s, yeah, money bought you durability, but anymore, dude.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I will agree with you that money doesn't buy you durability anymore. It doesn't, like, that market's kind of been cornered, particularly in that T2 housing. Like you're going to see that same functionality all day. The only piece you're going to gain is better light transmission under nods, which is, if you're doing that, the T2 is not the correct optic to be using anyway. So yeah, whatever. Your
favorite libertarian says, I've got a T2, but someone over there wrote Holosun 403R on it before they sent it to me.
Would it be ridiculous to do an aim point acro as an offset? I think they sell it.
Don't do it. CM says, shout out to the CHP for never giving me a ticket. Knock on wood. I've never gotten a ticket from California Highway Patrol. Thank goodness.
Neither have I.
I have.
Joe, didn't you rent a car and then got it stuck on the beach or something?
We rented a car, and I won't talk about that. I don't know what the.
He's like, what? I don't know the statute of limitations.
Yeah, I don't know the statute of limitations. But no, I got a ticket in California. I was trying to read a map back before GPSs, and I was speeding a little bit. He gave me a ticket.
Okay, I'm trying to find these. They don't. So ScalarWorks doesn't actually they offer those offhand. Like I've been looking at those offset mounts for the ScalarWorks mount. They offer them in right hand and left-handed, but they only actually sell them in right-handed. So you can't get them left-handed.
Big Truck says the last 4 years or so I spent at the sheriff's office was in the narcotics unit, and we served most of our own warrants. To save money on SWAT callouts, you find out real quick who can lead in the moment.
Yeah.
So this is a good point. The dude says not many people can lead. Fewer can lead in CQB.
I like that saying a lot. Yeah.
Big Truck, we train active shooter and small team sweeps, room clearing regularly. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep, normal stuff.
Big Truck, those who weren't able to lead always did not take lead because they were too timid and wanted someone else to step up. And honestly, you can't fault those guys. Those guys know their place. They know that they're not set to lead. And so I'd say kudos to them for recognizing that, but also being able to recognize that they could still help and carry out a mission if they could take orders.
I will say though, like some of these dynamic teams that we run across in the military, they recruit specifically because every single person's got to be able to do that. Yeah. And so you're looking almost for the personality type and training the skill, just because it's that important to be able to step up and lead. And like we saw in those videos, to go towards the problem instead of hesitating, pausing, or running away from it.
It's interesting you say that, Sean, because even talking to some of the employers, like they want to get more military guys. I'm trying to understand why, and they're like, because you guys have a mentality and a drive and a mindset. They're like, I can teach skills. You can't teach some of these basic core stuff that you learn, like the things that make you who you are. Those that we ingrained in military guys. So that's an interesting perspective.
It's pretty rare in I'll say like a business setting for a 23-year-old to be leading people or supervising people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but that's happens pretty regularly in the military. So you get leadership training. You may not be good at it, but you get it at a pretty young age in the military.
I mean, you look at basic, and you got you're 18.
Yeah.
And it's your peers. It's not like you have, well, I'm higher ranking than you, so you have to listen to me. Like,
Yeah.
you got her both together in this. You showed up on the same bus and that dude telling you what to do.
Yeah.
We could open up a can of worms, but I definitely think there is something to be said between the difference between an actual leader and a manager.
Oh,
I think we often have people that manage enough to get by, but if you're looking at a true leader, like somebody you're willing to step in front of a shot for, and you know that they got your back just as much as you got them, it's a whole different mentality.
I heard of a good way of explaining it too. Like, managers help solve problems where leaders build up other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, your leader in your group is trying to build you to replace them. Whereas a manager is like, I just want to get to the other side of the river. Like, how do I get there?
Yeah, that's the point. Like, if you have a team and the leader gets promoted or moves on and it functions great for 6 months, you don't need to hire someone. You need to promote someone.
Yeah.
Right. There's someone there that's capable of doing that. Super chat, I didn't want to miss. Shadowman said, so I think I'm going to go with the top mount on my setup on my scope for NV use. Got any suggestions on mounts?
I do, and I'm going to make sure Croak backs me up on this. Croak and the dude. There's two of them I'm really in love with right now, which is the Primary Arms PLX. It only does the T2 mount, though, or the Reptilia mount. I really, really like that. I think it doesn't break the bank with, like, you got your Badger ordinances, with I think are kind of like insanely expensive for what they are. I think the Reptilia is one of the best, and you can get a lot of those top mounts. I think you can even do the diving board mounts on those too. So I'd love to hear what Croak and the dude say about those, and some of the other guys out there. Same with Misfit. I want to hear you guys have to say about your favorite mounts if you're going to use top dots, though. But those are the ones I like the most.
Yeah, some Wizard comments. Wizard, get your nose. Wizard, butt blast. Wizard, Jimothy. So Caleb says, well, with having 26,800 members, that means we only 973,000 members to go before we get odds.
Just skipping ahead. ADM makes a top mount too. They do, also fantastic. I had just not played with that one. I had used their one that was only Picatinny when it was like too big. That just came out this year. I talked with them at SHOT Show this year. Another good choice. But that one is like built like a tank. Like, if you're gonna run that thing over in your, like, if I was gonna give Joe a scope mount, I'm gonna give him the ADM mount and nothing else. You can't wreck that thing. So think of what you're gonna do. It's heavier, but you can smash that thing.
J-Dub says Joe's just mad because he doesn't own a Trichicon RMR.
That is true.
Hey, I'm stealing
that
one.
That is true. If I wish I did have one, I would put it on my Prodigy.
Stay there for a second.
Okay.
I want to say hi to Shots with Annie. So this is Jason, who works over at.
I recognize the label.
Yeah, so you recognize they're the Armor. He's with Armor Lube. So Armor Lube is the guy who have the new the mil spec for BCGs. Correct, me, Jason?
Yeah, for CENTCOM, I think.
Yeah. So they're the DLC coating that's used on the staccatos,
Arrow.
A whole ton of stuff, and there's things, a whole bunch of new stuff. I don't want to. He tells me secret stuff I don't know if I can say, so I won't say anything. But it's going to be on a whole bunch of cool stuff. Interestingly, he's going to be doing his own channel. So if you guys haven't already, follow his channel and see if you can subscribe to. He's going to be bringing in a bunch of guys doing something cool where they're going to be shooting some cool guns, taking some shots afterwards. I think I always mess up his name. Colin Noir.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I don't say it the right way. But he's trying to bring in some of the bigger YouTube names that he's familiar with. Jason, he even asked our team to come on there, so I will go. We could definitely go and do dumb stuff and take some trips. We always. What's funny is we kind of made it like a annual thing where we go and visit him every SHOT Show because we didn't know who they were, and he was just super cordial and nice to us. So if there is a cool channel that is starting up that you probably want to watch, I highly recommend that one. I'm looking forward to what he's got up his sleeve.
Awesome.
I like how Wolf's never mentioned that we got invited anywhere. Like, he was just going to go and be like, hey, look at that cool thing I got to do.
No.
Oh, sorry, there's only one seat.
I have been very busy, and I hadn't even talked to Jason all week. So, like, I saw him, and I was like, it was literally oh, yeah, by the way, we're doing
you've been busy gluing pubic hairs to your face.
I've been doing that all day. Okay.
All day. K-Sizzle. Says hello, guys. 1911 Drew, congrats, Walsh, on your retirement. Thank you for your service.
Hey, appreciate it.
Let's see here.
Don't fill his head. He didn't do anything in whole military career.
That's true. Croak says
Getting
CHP
it.
Georgia Highway Patrol are the only speeding tickets I've had to eat.
Stupid Georgia.
Walsh said he's getting an MRO because my parallax.
I would love. Like, I would want to do a video, but like, it would just be a repeat of Hop's video where he just shows the parallax the whole time, and just my angry face, and I'll shoot and miss. I'm like, oh, weird. Like, oh, no,
Here's Danielle. This is Walsh's favorite commenter. Danielle says, I need a T2 to mount onto of the TA02 I'm shopping for.
God, you never fail me.
Croak, Holo Tactical Rook for a big pimpin' offset.
Listen, Crook, he always comes through because I'm always like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna do an offset. Like, well, why not just use the Rook? Like, that is actually a better option. Like, if
Right. You guys showed it in 2 shots show ago, and I've yet to see one, hold one. Are they for sale?
yeah,
Are they available?
Yeah. They're expensive.
they're not the cheapest thing.
What are they, like $250? They're expensive. The dude says, Goobers be like, offset my EOTech with another EOTech.
And then tell you to go to the gym. Like, and now you just need to go lift some more. That's why.
This one has a red chevron, and this one has a green chevron.
For your different eyes.
The Croak says, we used to force guys to be on point or trail, etc., so they learned. Most times being timid is just lack of confidence and experience. Sink or swim works. I think so.
Sometimes you don't need to be there. We've all ran into those people too.
Yeah, that's true.
I think either way, it's good. I mean, I like what Croak says here. It's good to at least let them sink or swim, so you know
what they're gonna do.
You know what you're gonna expect with that individual, and sometimes not everybody's cut out for these teams, but we try to force them on anyway. And I do believe you can obviously get places with training, but the fact of the matter is not everybody's cut out for this stuff.
And I don't want to find out that somebody buckles in the moment I need them to perform.
Yeah, exactly. Misfit says, Swamp Fox has this weird hostile engagement mount that works well. It's kind of between an offset and a top mount.
What? Hold on.
I think Valhalla has something similar. Where you replace one of the rings.
I don't want to get anything.
Yeah.
Swamp Fox. They just like, I don't know. I'm just not happy with Swamp Fox.
Yeah. Big Truck says, I agree on military groups. That's true. I agree on military groups being elite, but it is the cops that respond to these active shooters, and their agencies are almost always limited in training, funding, and always limited on personnel.
It's true.
Yeah, I think that's true in some instances, but you saw like with Uvalde, I want to say there were more police officers that were in that school than what we saw with the Nashville one, and you saw an ineffectiveness to do anything, like an inability to do anything.
And it almost like bread. Sorry.
What's that?
It almost like bread like wildfire too, because like the indecision seemed to like breed like wildfire, and same with the decision seemed to breed like wildfire. Whereas like this guy's ready to go, let's go, and the other guy's like, well, hold it. Why is he holding back? Well, I'm not going in either. And the other guy's like, whoa, these two guys are holding back. I'm not going in. And then it's like now nobody's doing anything because that's the situation you made, and it was that first split second that defined what that situation is going to be. So yeah.
And we don't know what their training backgrounds are at this point. At least I haven't seen much of it. So while they all did respond to this, we do not understand their full backgrounds and what their capabilities are at this point.
Yeah. I'm going to share this mount real quick. Who recommended this?
Misfit.
It's just on the rings, isn't it?
That's horrible. I'm going to tell you,
you're horrible.
That's going to be the absolute worst of both worlds. Because it's going to be so high, like it's going to be high and so you usually have one of two problems. Either it's high and you got to drop down, or you got to rotate. This one is high and rotate. So you have to do both.
Yeah, Wilson's the only person that can effectively gauge somebody. He's doing multiple engagements at 5 yards and 300 yards multiple times.
I'm going to say right now.
He's like, oh, there are two people in front of me and two people at 500 yards. So I'm going to shoot him, and then I got to transfer to here, and then I got to transfer here, and then I got to transfer here.
But just even thinking about how I'm going to, like, No, I'd rather.
I think
not even
everybody.
have
I think
it.
everybody get all wrapped up about all that, and like I agree that you should buy the thing that works the best for you. But let's be honest, that entire system like that went designed for people carrying sasses and more. So you didn't have to carry 2 long guns to clear a house.
So interesting.
I'll give you that.
Crow comments on Discord and he said, "Hey Walsh, I got that mount on a sale a year or so ago. It's not horrible, but it weighs almost as much as an LPVO all by itself."
Oh, the hostile engagement one?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
He also said he got one of those any stickers.
Oh, goody, good.
I
Yo, he
think-
must have got. I mean, he must
yeah.
have talked with Jason when he was over there then too. Yeah. Yeah. So, Croak, I'm reading your stuff on Discord now. You talking about the hostile engagement one? Yeah, it looks like it weighs a bit, but the ADM weighs a million pounds too. But like, it would actually be effective, I think.
Yeah. So what I'm saying about those, and what you see people at the range all the time, right? And what T-Rex arm, he's notorious for it, where they're like, "Oh, let me turn, oh, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang." When would you ever do that? Like, it's designed so, like, hey, I want doing patrol, so I'm using my whatever range optic, and now I've come upon a house or building. So let me rotate my gun and use my red dot while I clear the house. And oh, they're at the back door. Let me rotate my gun back over and continue.
Yeah.
Like, who would ever do that?
I think that's extremely fair to say.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, the most of the time I do an offset is if the optic doesn't have 1x. If it's like 3 to 18 or something, like, you're not gonna. I mean, you're gonna have to transition to that for a specific place.
Yeah, but tell me the scenario where you have to transition quickly, even one time, let alone 5 times.
Ideally, no, and you make a good point. Ideally, never, because it's not designed for that mission set. It's a backup. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like for when everything goes sideways. Ideally, I wouldn't ever, because it should be a longer range platform. But I'm with you. You're totally right. Like, I could
come up on, or you're pieing a corner, so you rotate it over, you pie the corner, and now you have a 1,000-yard alleyway. Transition back over.
Yeah. Hey,
it's range candy.
One thing.
Croak I think the other thing though you see with. Were you saying, Walsh?
I'll just say, Croak was saying, real quick. He says he uses the Arrow lightweight for everything over on Discord. Can you use top or side mount dots on that? That's all I was just curious about. Go ahead, Jason.
Who was it? Valhalla makes a red dot adapter ring, like you replace one of the rings on the Arrow. And it's like a hanger mount, like it hangs the red dot kind of upside down. Remember, he showed us that at SHOT Show, and the way you zero it is you make it perpendicular to the ground, I think, and your windage is elevation and your elevation is windage.
Yeah, just opposite.
Something like that. Yeah. I forgot what else I was going to say, but yeah.
I don't disagree with Joe. I think on a lot of platforms, I'm like, what is the offset doing in that situation? Like,
super chat. Seth Brooks says the mount also requires you to switch eyes. Ugh.
What?
I didn't know that. There's no way. Really?
Mount?
The hostile engagement mount?
Now we need one. It's about to become the new thing too.
I was thinking though, like in the old school days, like Vietnam and stuff like that, you would have, let's say, a guy with a BAR. Like he's not clearing houses. You would send another team in to clear, do CQB stuff. Did they do that during GWAT? You'd have a person that they would never enter the house. They would just stay outside, so they never had to have an offset optic. I don't know the answer to that, so I'm legit asking.
We worked in a really small team, and we had 240 and a 249. But whenever we went into like a small courtyard or whatever, we were all there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't normally go into a lot of houses. Well, actually, when we were clearing stuff, we had a 249, but that's a little bit different.
But you didn't have like a distance optic with an offset red dot. No. I never did. Yeah.
All of our Army guys had ACOG 4x.
Yep.
Yeah.
Popular.
Yeah.
Croak says it's not a situation of transitioning quickly. It's if you mess up and have the mag too high when you first deploy the rifle. Oh, magnification too high.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it would be a quick transition, but just for that one instance, right?
Croak,
So
I'm gonna be devil advocate, and I'm gonna say horse crap that you know about point shooting, and especially with a rifle, you're point shooting within 25 yards anyway. So I'm gonna call BS on it.
Ooh.
Man.
Croak knows better than that one.
Croak's gonna be like, well, hold on.
Yeah. Now Croak's gonna hand me my rear end.
He's actually behind you right now.
Croak's gonna go full keyboard warrior right now. You better have glasses on, Croak, or it don't count.
Like, you see like this coat hanger just come out.
So Misfit says Seth is right. You keep both eyes open and you go from right to left eye. Oh, that's interesting.
So Croak's his response to you, Joe. He says, and look at Discord, the application I use the offset for. So hold on, let me see if I can show you this. It's more about what I've talked about using it for in the past, where he's got. So this is just a great setup too. Talking about using. I think he said it's a 4 to 16. 4 to 16 on a 6.5, and then that offset. So, like I said, if you can't go one, I mean,
I'm not saying don't have one. What I'm saying is the range candy that where they're transitioning quickly, that's unrealistic. When would you ever transition quickly?
Yeah, I like his situation where, like, if he had to, he does have a gap that's filling where the optic can't fill in the 1 to 4x range.
Yeah, I if you want to put it on your gun, put it on your gun. I mean, I think it's super cool. I use it in Call of Duty all the time. So, like it's super cool. I just don't understand the harping on transitioning quickly. I don't understand it.
I think it's because people see it in competition too, so they're like, "Oh, I want to get."
Yeah, you see it a lot in competition where you have to engage.
John Wick did it.
Yeah,
5, 10, and then 100 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
The other thing I think of, like I watch a lot of these airsoft videos. Those sniper rifles, they'll put ghillie suits and they'll start pegging people. And usually, what they do instead of having an offset, they'll have a pistol on them, right? So they engage close quarter stuff using their pistol instead of their rifle.
Yep.
Zach Vet says, "Switch eyes." That sounds like a Goobers.
I know a group of guys who would love this product.
Danielle says, "Do you close the dust cover when you go on safe? What is the most efficient way to do this when you are wrong-handed? Lose control when you let go of the support hand?"
You close the dust cover when you put it in your safe.
I don't. There are so I'm gonna put it in perspective. I was a new shooter, and I always closed the dust cover. And then we built our Beowulfs, and Joe was like, "Well, hey, I have to hollow out." Like now, you can buy uppers that are for Beowulfs, but this is before like the Aero XL uppers were out. So Joe was just milling out right where it could eject the round out, right? So he's like, "Hey guys, you just have to deal with it." He's like, "I don't think your dust covers are gonna work." So it's like, okay, there are, I would say, 99. Ever since that point, I was like, so we don't care. Like, almost all of my guns have never had the dust cover closed. Like, if you ripped them off, I'd be like, well, that's one less thing to worry about.
If you're putting it in your safe or you're like going on a hike, then sure, close your dust cover. Yeah. Other than that, it just stays open.
And I'll argue this: if the bolt is closed, who cares? Like, you'll see a ton of stuff. If the bolt's closed and a ton of just stuff gets jammed on the outside, I fire one round. Guess what? That fool's clean. Like,
I can argue that one because I wasn't cleaning my rifle like we should in Iraq, and then we got invited over to the army to like go ham, and my gun was jamming a lot, and I just sprayed a bunch of WD-40 in there, and it solved its problem. But yeah, don't do that. Don't do what Waltz just said. With an AK, you can do that all day.
I shoot a lot of rounds. I shoot a good bit of rounds, just testing a lot of optics over long intervals. Like, they'll maybe like, hey, I'll test one every couple months over different firearms.
But your gun also in a temperature, nice, dust-free area.
True, I'll give you that. Yeah. But also, I don't clean anything over 2.5, 3 years. I haven't cleaned anything
That's coming from a guy that you have to clean a rifle after every
and
shot.
I would clean after, and Joe would give me crap about it. He'd clean after every shooting. The staccato is well oiled but dirty. Like everything is oiled but dirty. Like I don't care. Nothing's ever broken. Nothing's ever failed. Everything is accurate as hell. Don't clean it. I'll get mad.
Yeah, speaking of dust cover, so at the range yesterday, that the M4 that they issued me, someone installed the spring on the dust cover wrong, so it wouldn't like stay closed, or like it wouldn't spring open.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it just was like just flopped, and so I get it, and the fire instructor's there, and I was like, hey, what the hell is up with this? So I just kept like flinging it back and forth, like this isn't supposed to do this. I think I need to send it in to get it fixed. Like, hey, if you want me to, I can just take care of this at home. No, you're not an armorer.
Yeah,
can't let you do it.
That's my favorite. It's like
we gotta waste money.
Oh, okay. I can't remove the handguard and rotate the spring and put it back on, and then put the handguard back on.
You have to have a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So that's always what I've been curious about. Like to the degree that we do some firearms builds, I would argue that you'd be like, hey, you got to go see an armorer. Like, okay, Jason or Joe could like, we've cut some stuff, like, right? We've fit some stuff, like, but like, is it just where do you get that classification to say like, yep, he's a gunsmith, he's an armorer?
He sat through an 8-hour class.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Money. We had to. My previous agency, we had to change all the springs out on our Glocks, and so the plan was myself and one of the other guys were going to be taking everything apart, and the armorers were going to be the one putting everything back together. And I was like, hey, I know how to do this. I could do this if you guys need help, because we got to the point where it was me and the other guy were just twiddling our thumbs. And so I got 3 put together before the trained armorer got 1 done.
Yeah.
And finally,
dude,
I
took my duty pistol that I have to risk, that is in charge of saving my life. I would have 4 to 5 failure to fire every 50 round qual. And I kept taking it back to the armorer. And they kept saying, oh, I'm probably just the ammo. Really? Because we're all shooting from the same lot and nobody else is having that problem. And after 2 years of doing that, they finally let us buy our own guns. And that's what made me buy my Springfield. Another guy goes and shoots it. I'm like, yeah, you can borrow my gun, but get ready for malfunction drill. It's actually handy. I ended up enjoying it. I did malfunction drill, and I didn't carry it to save my life.
Got like a 22 pistol. It's good for malfunction.
Yeah, it was good. He took it in, and they replaced the hammer spring. Never had a problem again. I told him that every time that I took it in, like, hey, this needs new hammer spring. These are light primer strikes and need new hammer spring.
Yeah.
No, it's the ammo.
Yeah. So this is interesting. Croak says, have you ever seen what kind of Bubba work do on their cars, their home improvements, etc.? I can see why institutions don't want everybody tinkering. Yeah, I think that's very fair. My frustration, again, this is kind of anecdotal, is for years I asked my agency, hey, I want to be a firearms instructor. I want to go to armorer school, and they were always like, nope. And it finally got to the point where after 5 years of asking, they're like, hey, we have an opening. I was like, no, never mind. I'm not interested anymore. Because then I see the paperwork that goes along with it. I'm like, oh, it's not worth it. No, thank you.
And everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I just say, like, we've troubleshot so many firearms, or like switched out barrels. Like, I get in so many Reddit discussions of people that are like, this firearm's so much better than the other one. And it's like, no, they're not. Like, they're all wear and tear items. Just learn how to change the parts out. And I'm just as guilty of, like, for a long time thinking some things were quality, and then Joe and Jason and Cody and teach me how to do it all. And it's like, oh, we can switch barrels out in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You mean that mil spec part made from specified material and then machined to the specified limit is not as good as that mil spec material
to the same
machine to the same specified
same metal
criteria?
They're different.
What are you talking about?
But Joe, I paid $300 more for this one, so it's better.
Yeah, that was you, dude. You were replaying parts before you ever shot guns.
Listen,
that drove me nuts.
But I'm with you though. I think that's a novice thing, though. I think it's where a lot of novices come in, where they don't know enough, and particularly with like, hey, I want to buy stuff, but I didn't get enough time to shoot. I'll be the first one to say, go shoot more. Like outgrow your gun, and you probably won't. Like you probably won't ever outshoot whatever you got, even if it's $50 from Cabela's. You're probably not gonna outshoot that thing.
That's why everybody gives me crap for mil-spec triggers, and I don't care.
You can shoot the heck out of it.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, we talked about this before, that with a mil-spec trigger, if it fails, if a spring breaks, like that's very easy to fix.
Cheap.
If your drop-in trigger breaks,
I bring a whole I bring a whole spare fire control group in my extra parts bag. That can be like worst case that cassette dies. Be like, nope, we're not gonna play this game. Let's put an actual trigger back in. So here's an interesting yet annoying one. Where does it make sense to cut weight on a build without harming reliability?
Well, I think you
have
go
to
with
walk
like
10 miles.
Oh, there's that, but I think you go with like the Hansen profile barrel. You can save weight on barrels.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't cut weight.
Oh, he's asking where on the rifle to make sense to cut weight.
I think so.
Well, it's also Dan, and we don't know what he or she is saying.
I go fluted barrel. I like fluted barrels.
Okay.
I'd say take some of the crap off your gun. Like if you have
disagree
a 8 to 10 with a freaking with a red dot on it, like, and a forward grip that has a bipod that pops out of it. Like, let's go ahead and take all that.
That sounds sweet.
Yeah.
Do that. That sounds sweet. That sounds awesome. Do that. Do that one.
And your can launcher, your beer can launcher on the front of it.
Also sweet.
Yeah. Have removable flashlight and take that off during daytime hours.
And it's funny, we're making jokes, but like Joe is saying the obvious things. Should you run a lightweight BCG? Hell no. Should you be cutting weight out of your handguard? No, that actually gives you structural support. Should you do lightweight?
Should you get a skeletonized upper and lower and take it out to the middle of the desert?
Attach bayonets.
Yeah.
That's all it's going to be good for at that point.
Yeah. Even lightweight stocks, I'll warn you, like those things come at a cost. Every place you cut weight comes at a cost of some term of functionality. So you're trading weight for functionality. I would just be careful in doing that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this sounds
please and thanks.
Joe, okay. All right, cool.
I know a guy. He works as a gunsmith now, and he was saying that the number one place where he saves weight for people, usually they come in with a quad rail, and you just put a free float rail on there.
Yep.
Yeah. And people love quad rails, but it is that's old, man. That's old tech. People that I think they like the nostalgic factor, but
dude, just a front sight post on that sucker.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No. Hot pass.
So Croak says, depends on the application and environment and the quality of the lighter parts. Lighter barrels shave a lot of weight, but can start to string when hot, for instance. Don't shoot extended. I change stuff on guns before I shoot them because I know what I prefer, like X brand sights for the same picture, or Y brand pistol grips, or Z brand muzzle devices, etc.
We're kind of the same way too. We know kind of what we like. There is one main build that if we were just going to build.
Croak? What is wrong with Croak tonight, dude?
He's great. I think
you would agree with it when you think about it.
Why would you change parts? Why wouldn't you build it the way you want it, Croak? Come on now. He's trying to wrap us up, dude. He's trying to wrap us up. He's trying to catch us.
He would build it anyway. He ain't gonna.
Yeah, I don't think Croak ever bought a fully assembled gun. Come on now, Croak.
Because imagine if one of us bought like a Daniel Defense, and it would probably make everyone else go crazy if the first thing we do is just strip it. Like,
I will say I give Daniel Defense a lot of hate, but I got given a bump stock by a viewer and a friend.
A bump stock.
Or a bump stock. Dude, like
don't say that on the channel.
A stock.
A stock. Yeah.
A regular stock.
Okay.
That one. From Daniel Defense, and I actually like it.
I like
the
their
Daniel
stock.
Defense stock. Yeah.
So Danielle says, anyone build a good fluted 10.3? Got to save the weight budget for a 416 and offset. And Croak says there's no such thing as a good 10.3 fight me.
I'm with him.
Yeah, I'm with you, Croak. Well, but they didn't say the caliber, so I will fight you, Croak, because I'm feeling feisty against you.
Don't argue that. Imagine it on a 9.
The dude says
7.62 by 39.
Joe needs to spend more time on the Discord.
No, I don't.
Argue there all day.
Yeah.
Ignite fires.
Actually,
I get feisty when I'm tired, dude. I'm tired.
That's fun, though.
but my MK18, brother.
Ooh. So the dude says 11.5 is the way. I do agree. I think 12.5. I went from an 11.5 to a 12.5 in a Criterion setup, and I sent that 11.5 over to Jason. And after putting the 12.5 on there, I really did like that 11.5 setup better. But there's a significant jump to the 12.5 velocity. There's a weird curve that happens in that 1 inch period for some stupid reason, physics or something. But I
like the 11.5.
I like
The dude
11.5.
is right. That 11.5 is like one of my favorite ARs to shoot.
Same. Like it was really nice. The 12.5 Criterion is wonderful, but I like it was way more comfortable in the 11.5, especially with the silencer on it.
4-inch 9mm. That's where it's at.
Fight me.
No, 14. No, 14.5 makes no sense.
Croak says, "Love you, Joe. Show is less fun without you."
Oh, thanks, buddy.
J-Dub says, "Joe is the best."
See, they want him on
Aw,
Discord. See,
Dude,
Joe,
me and J-Dub are like, we're
Yeah.
soulmates.
Yeah. we're dating after this.
Danielle says he already has the 12.5. He wants the 10.3 to go real small.
Dan, what are you doing?
I don't think so.
Change calibers, dude. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
do
change
something.
calibers. Build a 7.62 by 39.
A 12.5 and a
7.62 by
16,
39.
and then like an 18.20 is like all you need. Other than that, yeah, do a different caliber, do something else completely.
Yeah, you won't regret it. I mean, 7.62 by 39 and like 10.5, you'll be.
Oh, this is a great one. So the dude,
Yeah, the
I
dude says
had-
heard of people having hard times balancing gas with 12.5s.
I had an adjustable gas block on my 11.5, and I sent that over to Jason. And I think did you play with the adjustable gas block? Or you just leave it how it was?
No,
What 11.5 are you talking about? Did you give away another painted gun?
No,
just the barrel.
The barrel I had on the night vision gun was originally a ballistic advantage, and I sent it because Criterion sent us a 12.5. I took out the adjustable gas block on the 12.5, but since I run the bootleg BCG, I highly recommend that on a 12.5 because you're probably going to put a silencer on it. That bootleg BCG has saved me countless hours of annoying. God, I can't swear it. I've been swearing a lot more lately. Countless hours of nonsense with messing with adjustable gas blocks because you can get a good comfortable setting, and I also don't have any gas in my face with the lefty because it's coming out at the BCG instead of coming port facing me. Yeah, so it's I can't talk more about how much I love that BCG.
Yeah. Shadowman says he's very impressed with his 10.5 BRN 180 that he has. That's a piston, right? Is that a piston?
Yeah. I mean, if at that, maybe it's okay. I don't know.
Crook says, I'm really fond of 13.7 or 13.9. Good gas, still handy, and it's a pin and weld from saying F the NFA.
Yeah, I can see it. 13.9. It's just a lot. There's just a lot of them.
So you gotta
16 at that point.
You gotta follow some of these comments. So Danielle says, I already have 12.5, want 13.3 to go real small. And Croak says, that's not what she said. and Danielle says, every girl has her capacity.
Goodness.
This one's out.
Yeah,
Another
now my wife's gonna come down. What were you guys talking about? Like, oh dear, I'm sorry. We were being adults.
Barrel sizes.
Yeah,
barrel length.
Barrel
length.
What do we call it? The girth of the barrel, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That barrel's kind of veiny.
Yeah.
Another YouTuber says pistols are small, rifles are long.
Have we determined who the other YouTuber is? Like, I'm really at this point. I'm curious. It's got to be an actual.
Wait, what did J-Dub say? Hey, go back to J-Dub.
J-Dub said, all this talk about rifle length, all I need is a 1911. 2 world wars.
Hell yeah. See? I knew you needed to go back to J-Dub.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Joe's like, yeah, we are dating.
Yeah, have you seen We Were Soldiers?
Yeah.
Yeah, with what rank was he? Gunnery? No. The Sergeant Major.
Sergeant Major, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's all he wanted to.
Beautiful day, Sergeant Major. Danielle says more barrel options in the 10.5 and 11.5. Need an ultralight 10.3 with a front sight base. You know who has one is your favorite libertarian. He's got an arrow build that he shows off. I think it's a 10.5.
What is the link to that god awful Triarch he has?
Isn't that a 13.7 with a pin and welded Huxworks?
Oh, it
connector?
is. Yeah, he won't get mad if I say that because they definitely screwed him over.
Yeah.
On that.
So J-Dub had that comment about the 1911. And 1911 Drew says, "Wait, a 1911?" He's like, "I wasn't paying attention." Someone said 1911. What's going on?
Reminds me of like Benny from the Lego Movie. Did somebody say 1911? Like, no, you just talking.
Oh, I didn't even
Woke him up out of his
change
bed.
the subject. Does Walsh? Did you realize that I created a new Instagram account?
No, which one is this one?
It's my dog.
Okay.
Did you just see it? I shared one of your stories. Yeah. It was your primary arms one, and I was like, "Whoa, I can see so far with a squirrel." It's like right when you look through the scope. So yeah, my dog,
when it zoomed in. Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Squirrel. Is that a squirrel? Tony Baloney. Tony.baloney.tld is
that your dog's name? Tony Baloney?
It's just Tony.
Oh, I was about to say this is the best.
But the my 3-year-old was like, one day he came down the stairs. My 3-year-old was like, Tony Baloney, and I was like, that's his name.
That works.
So yeah, your favorite libertarian says 10.5 for the arrow, but his your favorite libertarian, you have a front sight post on that, right? Like the A-frame, I think so.
I thought he did.
13.9 for the Triarch, the Forever Wait Time Company. Oh, we should think of an acronym for Triarch. I'll think of one. Shadowman says, I'm at 212 days on my YHM R2. I'm getting closer.
Oh,
Bro,
you're getting there.
I'm at like 13 days.
Oh, you ordered another one?
My Huxworks, my Rad 45.
Oh, I didn't know you ordered one.
Yeah, it was a stupid good price, like 60% off.
Oh, that's hard to pass. I would have a hard time, especially because I've always thought about switching everything out, but I don't want to change everything from chemo over to the Huxwork QD. Everyone in the comments will probably tell me to do it, but it's just like me.
Yeah. Well, I have that Glock 21 with a threaded barrel, so I'd love to shoot it suppressed.
Dude, I've seen Shooter. You just need a Mountain Dew bottle.
I was going to ask, do they make? I'm sure they do, but is it recommended to shoot a 1911 suppressed? I wonder how that would sound.
Why would you want to silence a bald eagle? I mean, it's just not something that you do.
Why are you toning down the sounds of freedom?
Right?
Come on now.
Did you want a bald eagle sounding like a parakeet? No. Don't put a silencer on 19. Shut up.
Your favorite libertarian says, yes, it's FSB with the MOE handguard. It's rad. Croak says, totally revolting inventory accounting company.
There's your Triarch.
We missed the R. Totally revolting inventory accounting. We'll think of what an R is. Croak will think of what the R would be by the end of the live chat.
Yeah. And then
we only have like 7 minutes.
Yeah. Croak, you have about how much time we got?
6 minutes.
Yeah, like 6 minutes, and we need a picture.
Just use revolting twice. You'll be good.
Yeah, just
totally revolting inventory accounting revolting company.
Yeah, and get a cool Triarch picture with their logo underneath, and then the word. I can make this. Like if you're not on it, I can make this too. It's amazing.
1911 Drew says, well, yeah, you can suppress a 1911 in 45 ACP.
Yeah,
there you go.
Back to my previous statement.
Yeah, why
would you?
Okay, so while Jason, we're getting close to the time. Do we want to go through what we're working on? I want to hear about your secret stuff you're working on for this weekend.
No, I'm not telling you. Actually, where is it? Oh, yeah, it's over here. So real quick, Angry Sarge says Chief Sergeant Major Plumley, Joe.
Yeah, that one.
From Newer Soldiers. There you go. Totally revolting inventory accounting reporting company.
I like using revolting twice.
Revolting twice.
Use revolting twice. Make
I like revolting twice.
Makes it stupider if it's the same word.
It's redundant, but I get it.
No, just go ahead.
So I'm working on a low visibility plate carrier review. I haven't done one of those in a while.
Which one? Oh, I guess you can't say. That's fine.
I can say it. Yeah, it's not a secret. It's the LA Police Gear JTE carrier. Just the essentials.
Interesting. I'm about to Google this thing. See what we're gonna be looking at here.
Those are gonna be. He's gonna hate that.
Who is?
Yeah, Jason. Too.
So
that's gonna be one with like thin straps and like all kinds of stuff. Like that's the thing that you keep in your car for just in case.
No, I think it's the evolution.
Tire.
I think it's the evolution.
So Banksbucks will like this, but check that out.
Ooh,
Woodland camo.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I don't have the thicker straps. Never mind.
My HRT Woodland Maximus placard will go very well with this.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but this JTE looks like pretty much the version 2 of the low profile carrier that we used to love so much.
Yeah, so the main difference is it doesn't have the admin pocket up at the top, and the cummerbund, it doesn't have the cells in the cummerbund. So it's just a straight elastic cummerbund. There's no magazine inserts in the cummerbund.
For like, let's say you wanted a weightlifting bag. I said that about the other one too. If you want a weightlifting like plate carrier, you want to use that for lifting or whatever else, like just to add some extra, it's $50. You get the ones that are like Rogue Fitness or like 511 and like, oh, it's $220. Like, no, don't buy that.
How much is that off of LA Police Gear? $50.
50. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great, like, I have 3 kids and I want them all to have a kid.
And that's what we talked about with the other one, even the Atlas.
We need to stop talking about it. We're going to steal all of Jason's thunder.
Triarch just a totally revolting inventory accounting revolting company.
Oh my god, Croak! This should show up randomly on Reddit. Like it should just be posted. Just be like
no.
I'm gonna.
Croak, if you make 50 of those sticker, I'm going to SHOT Show this year. I will randomly put the round SHOT Show.
Oh my god, gosh, they'll get mad.
I might have Tony Baloney share that on Instagram.
Oh, that would be amazing.
It's gonna be everybody's new computer wallpaper.
Yeah.
I check out my new cool Triarch wallpaper. Like, I don't think that's what that stands for. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what that stands for.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It's funny, man, how many times I feel like I've come to your favorite libertarian's defense. Like I was up in arms about the whole clip on the MCH. Like I have the MCH. I bought it to support the company, but this pocket clip is the worst pocket clip of all time. And they finally released the metal clip you could get for this. It was like free, but you got to pay shipping. And Nate was like, that's BS, because when this was initially released, they said it's going to come with a metal clip. And then they didn't release it. They just like sent it with this. And then a year plus later, they're like, hey, you could buy this metal clip now. And so, yeah, it was kind of funny how I was kind of battling Cloud Defensive on Instagram about that BS. And then it was the same with the Triarch. What a bunch of words.
So check this out. Check that. Those stickers and the Spit and Raisins Goober stickers should be everywhere.
Yeah.
I need to make the art. I have that flag. There's a flag you guys are gonna like. There it is. It is brutally rude. Like
these two want me to go to SHOT Show so bad.
Let me see.
And after 2024, they're probably going to be like, maybe you should sit the next one out.
So before we go, let me see if I can find this one last photo.
Croak says, do it like that Sabo guy does with the pictures in LA. Oh, he's the graffiti guy, right? I think so.
I'm going to do it like unit patches in the military. Like if I see somebody else's sticker, that sticker going over top of it. Yeah, it's just the way things are.
Yep. The dude says need to sell those on the TLDC website. Croak says, yeah, Sabo is he's a graffiti artist, but doesn't he make like political statements? Croak, I don't really follow him too much, but I've seen like bits and pieces of stuff. Oh, here you go. J-Dub says he's going to the NRA banquet on Saturday, and he's planning on wearing his Firearms Policy Coalition shirt. Nice. Pictures. I need pics.
Did I ever? So I never even pulled this off my email. The pictures are still sitting there. Jason knows. I've kept this as a secret, but there's a very specific flag.
Yes.
There's a very specific flag that's done by a very specific company that we're going to recreate with this. So those of you that
you know.
Is it
those of you that
PETA?
know this flag, just know, just know it's going to get epic when we finish. I got to do some Photoshop action, but it's gonna be
we have a. Did we come up with a Latin saying as
we
well?
did.
Oh no.
It just happens to go up and over the top in an interestingly familiar font.
Yeah, I don't know. This is an inside joke.
You'll see.
Everybody else.
There's a.
We'll get a kick. Okay, well we're over an hour and a half, guys. So let's go around. Anything else to discuss before we close this out?
Working on night vision stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for me. I'm working on a bunch of cool stuff. I just need some time to get all done.
Jose, Joe,
Mm-mm.
busy working crazy hours.
Yeah, car stuff.
Sean, you got anything for us?
What are you working
Nope,
on?
not yet.
All right.
Anything in the cooker yet?
No, I'm hoping to get out into the field next week. That's my goal.
You were gone last week, weren't you? Or
I
last 2
was,
weeks?
yeah. I was out in New Mexico having the time of my life.
We're at in New Mexico.
The place where you get to test your skills, Albuquerque.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that's real world training right there.
Yeah, it's no
Oh,
joke.
yeah. Croak says,
yeah.
wait, should mention that the EPS is good. Just keep up with the stream title. Yeah,
Hey, thanks.
EPS is really good.
It is good.
Very
It's
good.
the first time we mentioned it. Like, okay, well, anyway,
Good
everyone,
job, Croak.
Yeah,
That was a banger for your last comment, dude.
All right, guys. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. It's always fun. We are here every Thursday, 8:30 Central, and we will see you next Thursday.
Nobody
Later.
goes off at Central Time.